What I'm doing right now is product management coaching. So I'm helping people transition from their current profiles or roles into product management. Um, and I mean, we've all transitioned. So that's one of the things why I really am curious and want to discuss, because every single profile in product management is a transition in a way. Because as software engineers, so there's no bachelor of technology in computer science which can take you to as it takes you to software engineering, which can take you to product management.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you, Raj. And so, as you mentioned, I'm currently a chief product officer. So I've been working at various roles in various companies in product leadership, building product management, organization, and everything. So my career into product management actually came in from being more on the commercial and technical side, and actually I'm that old that I used to have a role called pre-sales, and nowadays people say pre-sales. What the buzz is that? I think that most of the activities that pre-sales do are more like on customer onboarding and customer success kind of roles that you will have today in SaaS platforms. So
Right.
the initial question that drove me into actually getting the title of product manager was actually from our engineering team. They said, "Yeah, you talk a lot to customers, Olivier, and you're in front of our partners and everything." So it was at the time before it was not a SaaS platform that I was working with. And they say, what features are they using? What makes value? Because we don't want to just code something and nobody is using that. So
Right.
can you help us understand what works and what doesn't work and why? And so I discussed that with the CTO of the company at this time, and he said, well, he read a book apparently and said, yeah, there's a role for that. It's called product manager. Are you interested? And say, yeah, I'll do that. So that's how I come into product management.
My
Yeah.
transition happened in 2009 or 8. Apparently, at that point in time, you're right, product management. I still remember I had to explain what I do. And when you used to say, I'm a product manager, we used to always get these questions, project manager. No, 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 it's a product manager. And then I always
Yeah.
used to give an example that, you know what, you know Gmail? Yeah, yeah, I know Gmail. So somewhere, someone in Google would have thought about Gmail, and Gmail is a product. So a product manager would have conceptualized it. And then, yeah, okay, that's what you do. Nowadays, I mean, everyone knows
Mm.
what we do, but it was very difficult at that point in time to explain. And I have a similar profile, but in computer science. So I transitioned from a software engineering domain. Um, but again, I mean, there's a lot. So in coaching or in my trust calls, there's always a question which is asked that I'm an engineer or I'm coming from sales. I don't think so. It's possible. Uh, and I
Mhm.
always convey that everyone has transitioned, right? So, so
Yeah.
you're like you mentioned that it was your intent and the role you were playing, right? Essentially, which carved out into product management. For
Yeah.
me, it was basically uh, maybe my thirst of asking questions. So they were too irritated by me asking questions about, oh, you're asking me to develop it, but then why? Why should I
Mhm.
develop it? What's the impact? Is it commercials? Is it user experience? And so on and so forth. And eventually, there was a product manager role in their little startup which they had, the same company. And because they saw intent. So that's really important,
Mhm.
wherein either you are, and you would have actually gone from being an engineer to more customer facing roles, and proving your capability in winning maybe the projects or contracts. So can you tell me more about, so when you were doing hardcore engineering, and from that how you transition into customer facing role, and then how they figure out, and how did, just little bit of diving deep a little bit.
Sure, no problem. And just to comment a bit on what you said, I think you can recognize a product manager or potential product manager depending on the type of question that they ask. If they ask why and not what and how, then they are more like keen to be good product managers, because this is your role, right? The product manager defines why you should do it, not so much the hows. But yeah. Well, the initially, so I was coding like 23 years ago, and finalizing my studies as engineering, and actually one of the major that I saw that I built on was actually computer science. So I didn't go the full curriculum of how to build, but because that was a hobby of mine, and say, hey, maybe I could bring that into my actual curriculum. So that was how I finalized my engineering. So I know how to code. And I think a bit similar to you, when I was asked of doing things and everything, I think the things that made sense, no problem, I'll just go. But when I starting, not understanding, well, actually, this does not really make sense. Why don't we do this and that instead? And starting and I was working for a consulting firm at this time, so they were selling hours and time of developing things. And at some point, I had a project manager who say, yeah, you know what, you ask so many questions that I don't have answers to. Why don't you ask the customer yourself?
Right.
And I started doing that. And then I transitioned into a consultant because, I think I had the extroverted kind of personality and being able to relate. So a bit like you, when I was telling people that what a product manager is, or even a pre-sale at the time, that's a bit kind of two sides of the same coin. People always say, so what do you do? And a lot of my friends are not into IT at all. So they don't understand. Oh, you do something with computer. Okay, I got it. And I was telling them I'm a translator, and say, oh, is it because you're French and you translate in Danish, or is that? I said, no, I translate business language into technical language and the other way around. And then they say, what is that? I say, well, people. And I got an engineer actually at some point that was really shocked when they say he actually was kind of trying to understand what pre-sales product was all about. And I said, but what do you ask? What do you do with customers? And they say, well, I try to figure out exactly what they want and see how we can translate that into a set of requirements. And they say, he was shocked. Basically, that was a Christmas party, and he was shocked. He looked at me and said, what are you telling me? The customer don't know what they want? And I had to laugh there, and then not because I thought it was a stupid question, but that was, the sheer surprise that he has in his eyes, and I say, yeah, actually, you're extremely good at getting all the details right and everything. Customers, they don't do that. They don't even understand how computers work and function. Right. So they are not able to put into terms that you would understand what they want, but they know exactly what they want at the outcome. But the output and how to get there, they have no clue. And that's our job to figure out.